Sting, welcome to 7:30.
Nice, good day, 7:30.
Well done, you. Now, you're bringing the relaunch of one of your grandest shows ever to Brisbane. Tell me, what is the last ship of the title?
The Last Ship is a story set in my hometown, which is a little shipyard town in between Newcastle upon Tyne and the North Sea. I was born and raised there in the shadow of a shipyard. I didn't appreciate it at the time because it was a terrifying, surreal industrial environment, and I'd watch thousands of men walk to work every day, to work in that yard, which seemed like an infernal hell. So I did everything in my power to escape that fate. So I got a scholarship at school. I became a musician and then a successful musician and was in the world. And at one point in my life, I realized that I had a lot to pay back to my community in terms of my identity, my work ethic, my sense of self were all forged in that place that I didn't appreciate. And so The Last Ship is my way of saying thank you to my community, to the people who brought me up, to my parents, to the people I knew. It's a love story, really.
I read that you had a significant writer's block in the years preceding you starting work on The Last Ship. If that's correct, why did thinking about Wallsend and your childhood release you from that writer's block?
I mean, that's rather dramatic to call it that. I'm sure I did, but you know, it is rather dramatic. But I think when my parents died in the late 80s, they both died in the same year. I went back there, obviously, to say goodbye to them, and it coincided with the closing of the shipyard. And that seemed like some sort of metaphor presenting itself for me to grieve. And, you know, I'm a songwriter, I'm an artist. So I wrote a song and an album called The Soul Cages, which is really where the germ that became The Last Ship was started. I always thought it had a theatrical potential. I mean, a shipyard, it has an operatic scale. It's massive. The ships used to tower over our house and blot out the sun for most of the year until they were launched into the sea. So those were very profound, powerful symbols for a child to grow among. And I'm grateful for that now. I think it was a very stimulating environment, and yet at the time I didn't appreciate it. Now I do. So I'm bringing The Last Ship all the way to Brisbane next month, and I'm so looking forward to it.
There is a character, of course, loosely based on you, both writing that character. Perhaps. Well, let's say there's a character that's got some touch points with your story.
Yeah.
What's it like watching at least a version of you performed on stage, indeed next to you, because you're in it too?
Yeah, I'm playing the foreman of the yard, and I suppose I'm channeling a sort of amalgam of people I did know who worked in the shipyards. I'm channeling my father, I'm channeling my grandfather.
What have we got? What have we got? We've got notes. We've got notes.
But the lead, who's a character called Gideon, I suppose loosely is me when I was younger, although it's not entirely biographical, but there are elements of me and my life woven through the play. So it's an interesting kind of out-of-body experience for me, both being on stage and watching someone else play me and sing my songs, as it were. So it's a kind of fascinating psychological drama that goes on every night.
Your friend Shaggy's also going to be on stage with you playing the ferryman.
Yeah.
Now, you collaborate with a lot of musicians. You're always looking for brilliant musicians to share your experiences with. But in this case, with Shaggy, why did you cast him?
You know, Shaggy's never acted in a play like this before, but he is a natural performer, and I knew instinctively that this role of the ferryman, he's a sort of otherworldly character who weaves in and out of the scenes. We're not sure which characters know he's there, but he kind of guides things along like some sort of spirit guide. But he plays it with such mischief and a twinkle in his eye. It's, the subject is quite dark, but Shaggy lifts it up to a level that is very entertaining. And he's brilliant in it, absolutely brilliant. So, my instinct seems to have been the right one.
Your siblings still live in Wallsend, I understand. Obviously, they've got used to you as a megastar over many years. But what was it like for them coming to see this show? Did they like it?
My siblings came to see us play in Amsterdam, where they really loved the play. We got fantastic audience response and great critical response. My brother was a wreck. He wept throughout, in a good way. It was very cathartic for him. My sister was tougher, but my poor brother was a wreck.
What's the catharsis in there?
I think, there's a lot of our family history there, the complex relations between fathers and sons is very much one of the tropes of the play, and so it's tough. It's not Aladdin. It's quite a serious piece, but fun.
Now, when you first launched it had a short run, very successful critical response, but a short run. What made you determined to bring it back again?
Sarah, I don't think something like this is ever finished for me. I'm constantly tinkering with it, adding songs, adding characters, morphing characters. It's like weaving a tapestry, and I won't be finished with it until I'm dead, actually. I really love work. It's an organic, living thing. So the iteration that you will see in Queensland next month will be different to the one that was in Paris last month, incrementally, and different to the one that was in Amsterdam, and certainly different to the one that was on Broadway 12 years ago.
What is the nature of that tinkering? Do you change the music? Do you add new numbers? How much do you tinker? I learn something every night when I perform the play, and I listen to the play, when I listen to what the orchestra's playing below me, and I'm thinking, I could change that bass line there, or perhaps this lyric would be better spoken by another character. So while I'm acting in the play, I'm planning what my next move is. Sometimes I miss my lines because of that, but anyway, I think that's part of my job, to keep it alive. Given what a hugely personal project this is for you, as well as all of the creative activity going on, are you difficult or easy to direct?
I listen to reason, and I'm very open, and I'm definitely not a prima donna.
Well, I think the answer is you're easy to direct if that's the case, but we'll check in with the director, of course.
I think I'm very easy to direct, Sarah.
I believe you. I want to ask about your creative process and how it's changed. Obviously, you've been writing songs for decades.
I think it gets harder. The less you know, the more confident you are. And the more you know, it gets more difficult. I'm constantly in competition with my older work, and it has to be better than it was when I was 25, and now I'm in my 70s. It doesn't get any easier. And yet it's a very satisfying struggle. And when I do write a song well, I'm very happy for about 20 minutes, and then the anxieties come back, and I have to write another one. But that's my life. 20
minutes isn't bad.
It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad.
Maybe half an hour.
Okay, we'll give you half an hour. And in terms of the way your creative process is working, do most of your songs come out of a chord or a riff, a chord change, a riff, or from a lyric, an idea?
I'm always looking for some novelty that I haven't discovered before. I play every day, and my fingers will find something that intrigues me, and I say, I'll follow that path where does that lead me, and what does it remind me of? And the same with lyrics. A lyric will occur to me, and it could be a refrain, and I'll work backwards from a refrain. What does that refrain mean? There's no one way of writing a song. They can occur to you at all different times of the day, locations, moods, and so you just have to be kind of open, in a state of grace, I suppose, openness to the universe, saying, okay, here's a song for you, because it's there to be discovered.
Do you ever fear that creative impulse might leave you?
I do fear that, and then I would wonder what my purpose is. So I think my purpose for most of my life has been to tell stories, and tell them in the form of songs, narratives, 3-minute narratives. That seems to be my skill, and I built my life and my career on that. So yes, of course, there's an anxiety. I mean, I've done quite a bit, but I don't want to rest on my laurels, as it were.
No, that's not an interesting place to sit, is it? There are millions of people in the world for whom Police's many hits were the sound of their youth, perhaps in the same way the Beatles were for you. Do you still derive pleasure from those early songs?
Of course I do. I think it's interesting to me when people use songs as emotional touchstones for their own emotional history. The best compliment I will receive is when somebody comes up to me in the street and says, Sting, we got married to your song, or we fell in love to one of your songs, or we buried Uncle Charlie to one of your songs. It means that the songs have a function in their lives, and so that makes me happy, very happy.
You said about the current show, the anxiety caused by the end of shipbuilding when that happened is similar to the fear people now have around AI, that the ship seems to me to be a good metaphor for that, looming but also with menace. When did that idea occur to you?
I mean, my community was under threat for my entire childhood. They were always waiting for the next order, and when the next order didn't come, the town died. And of course, your identity and everything, and all the social problems due to that being unemployment, were very to the forefront of everyone's mind. And I think as a society now, and we are all faced with this anxiety of, can we be replaced by machines? The answer is we can be. So I don't really have an answer to that, except that in the play, the answer is the spirit of community, of being together. The agency of women is one of the tropes in the play, the powerful nature of the women's solidarity. I don't know the answer for us versus AI. I don't personally fear for me as a creative spirit, because if AI can make perfectly serviceable pop music that you would hear in a hotel or an airport, but would you actually listen to it? I can hear it when it's AI, and I know that it's never had its heart broken, that it's never been in love. And it doesn't really have a story. I want to hear the story behind the song. And so I don't really think we can be replaced in that way at the moment.
And what about AI hoovering up songs that you've written in order to learn how to be a perfect simulacra?
Yeah, well, that's an issue, a legal issue, I think. But I don't know. I can hear it immediately. And there's a difference between hearing something which is passive and listening to something which is active. I would only listen to AI for an academic reason. I wouldn't listen to it for enjoyment, because I don't hear a story. I don't hear a human being. So I'll hear it, but I won't listen.
Sting, for all the joy that you have brought us, for what is clearly still a brilliant creative mind at work, thank you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope you'll come and see the show.
I'd love to. I'd love to. It sounds fantastic, and the pictures are out of this world. See ya, and good luck with the show.
Good day, everybody.